You are snowed in. What do you do? Right? When you look at things, I got my guardian angel Gizmo. Hey Gizmo. Cuckoo. Uh when you get snowed in, there's a lot of people who aren't going to travel today. There's a lot of people who are going to wait on the resources of others to clear the roads. This is the perfect, to me, farm boy, right, from Ohio, now sheep shepherd from Arkansas. And maybe that's the new thing I'll do. I'm a shepherd from Arkansas. Uh, I'm gonna turn the heat off. It's ridiculous. Hang on. Um, what resources are you waiting on? Who are you waiting to come help you? Good news is, right, I have a Hummer, an H2, 2005. Uh, so I'm gonna go once I get done here. I'm gonna go drive on the roads so I can create a path so people can actually see which way to go. They can drive in my tracks. Does that make sense? I live in Shirley, Arkansas. The ranch is in Shirley, Arkansas. If you Google Rocky Creek Ranch, it'll take you to a map, and Google Maps will drop a pin right over the property here, and it actually shows the whole. Right, so the pond is there. The big lake, Greers Ferries Lake, is to the south of us, actually to the west of us, northwest. Southwest, sorry, southwest. Anyway, so this idea of being snowed in, when many of us are going to go create our DMP, our definite major purpose, we get really snowed in. I don't know what to do. How do you write a DMP? How do you write a definite major purpose? Because it has a title, we believe there's a significant strategy, and there is. But the significant strategy is tell me your why. And most people won't tell you their why. Most people won't tell you their why because they don't know it. And the challenge is, do you remember when you got in when you did something when you were little? What's the first thing your parents asked you? Why'd you do that? So ask yourself, are you snowed in? Maybe, just maybe, you weren't going anywhere anyways. How many of you have planned to go travel today? Now, some of you, maybe it was to go to the airport or do some different things, and you canceled your own flight. You canceled your own trip. What happens when you're snowed in? What happens when you're stuck with people? Have you ever been I've been through a lot of hurricanes and a lot of tornado threats. I've never been in a tornado, um, but I've been in a lot of areas where it gets threatened and you have to shelter in place, right? You got to go to the shelters. Have you ever sheltered with people you didn't know? Why am I asking you this? Because you're going to shelter in place. You've been sheltering in place with identities that haven't served you. And because it's this survival mechanism, right? Imagine you're on a lifeboat and you're on this lifeboat with people you don't know. And some people have gotten on your nerves. And yet, because it's a survival situation, it's not really a problem. But if you weren't in a survival situation, you'd never spend a moment with that person. You all know what I'm talking about? Right now, you're spending time with somebody you would never spend time with. And that's your old self. That's your old identity. That's the thing that gives you opinions right now. When you have an opinion about something, how important it is that everybody knows about it. An opinion, right? Opinions are like eyebrows. Everybody's got a couple of them. What about the person who decided to get up late today? Would you want to spend time with them again? Or the person who couldn't go to sleep last night? You want to spend time with them again? You see, you have a choice today. Sadhguru says, one of the top 50 most influential people in India, a billion population. That's saying something. In this moment, choose joy or choose misery. How many versions of joy are you? Write that down. How many versions of joy am I? How many versions of misery am I? When you're snowed in, you'll find out which one is the dominant one. That makes sense? So as you build your DMP, for those of you in the mastermind, and we've got a new attendee, I believe as of yesterday. We'll confirm that today. So that'll be cool. Who do you choose to be with? And this DMP, I've gotten a few of them. People have sent them to me. And they're, so here's what I'm just giving you a heads up. Henry Kissinger, who was Secretary of State, I believe, for a while for the US way back in the 70s. Henry Kissinger, 70s, 80s, probably 70s, Nixon era. He was a professor at NYU, New York University, a very prestigious university. And he was in social sciences or something, he was a professor of, and a student turned in a paper. And the student tells the story. He says, I turned in my paper and I got back on the top of it. You can do better. And he said, I went and I redid it. It's a thesis, right? A thesis. He did it and he came back, and Kissinger then said he sent it back to me the second time and I wrote on it, you could do better. Third time I wrote on it, he sent it in. Third time, this is his third draft. He said, I got it. And I looked at it and I said, you could do better. And the fourth time, the kid wrote on the paper, this is it. I'm not turning in anymore. And if you want to fail me, fail me. Kissinger said, when I saw that note on the paper, he said, I decided to read it. What's that saying? It's saying that your first draft, my mentor would tell me your first one's your worst one. So if you turned in your definite major purpose to me, you can do better. I just promise you, you can do better. And if you say, well, I'd be curious to find out how to do better. Do better. Go Google, go work, go tell a story. There's all facts. There's no emotion to the DMPs I'm reading. Very little emotion to the DMP. Very few stories I would like to step into. Why do I say that? Because when you have a conversation with somebody, you have to invite them into your story. You have to be invited into their story. Brene Brown says you have no right to hear somebody's why until they invite you to hear it. See, the DMPs I have that were sent to me, some were good. They're good. Your goal is not a good goal. Your goal is an outstanding goal. So the DMPs need to be reworked. They need to be upgraded. They need to be tweaked. And listen, first one's the worst one. That's a pretty good run at a lot of your first one. So get snowed in. Decide who you're going to be around. Decide what you're going to want at the end of it. A lot of people, right? Today'd be a great day to go shopping in Walmart. There's not going to be anybody there. Not going to be anybody that maybe the employees, a lot of the employees, I bet, checked out. Be a great day to see if the old motto of the U.S. mail works, right? Through rain and sleet and snow. I bet we don't get mail today. Just saying. So, questions, comments, thoughts. I wanted to have a conversation with you about, look at Gizmo. Gizmo looks mad. He doesn't look mad, but I was shining the light in his eyes because it's pitch black out there. Questions, comments, thoughts on DMP, on understanding who you're spending time with and who you're spending time with that you would never in the real world spend time with. He needs a blanket. Yeah. He's got his built-in blanket. 4 inches of wool. He's got a wool coat on. He's got a coat on that would keep you very, very warm. The snow doesn't melt on him. That's how warm he is. If the snow doesn't melt on him, he's got a better jacket on than I do. Good morning, everybody. Thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways, take with yous.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have seen something very interesting with my DMP. I get some supernatural strength whenever I separate the time to go and do it. This morning, I woke up finishing. We don't have snow in Puerto Rico, but just today, Candy had an asthma attack. The asthma attack turns out to be related to the influenza that she has, so that I have apparently, or that I will get because same house. And so I will have to be snowed in for the next couple of days. And today I said, well, I'm already up, so let me just go and sit and do this. You know what I did? Well, you can see. This wall was white. You can still see the stripes of paint. I had to paint this wall because I'm working on my studio. This is my office. And I said, before I do this, let me go ahead and just finish this wall because it had like some streaks of paint that I had to finish. Let me just go do this real quick. I was painting at 5 a.m. I have never painted at 5 a.m. in my life. I was like, how? Now I'm just noticing. Because every time that I have gone to sit down and do it, it's like I find it almost impossible to sit down and do it. And I've done it before. I did it once. I still have that original DMP. I looked at it, but I've changed so much. It's like, okay, I don't know. I haven't found a way to actually do it, Sean. I don't know what's going on.
So it's not. So here's the challenge. Listen to the language. And this is for all of you that are willing and wanting to build a team. He said, I couldn't do it. The I that's telling me about it is not the same I that painted at 5 a.m.
That's what I also noticed. It's like, but at the same time, you're just not procrastinating. You're moving forward.
No, you're not. No, you picked a destination.
Yeah, because I needed to finish this.
No, but you're not moving forward. See, these are the lies we tell ourselves. I've never painted at 5 a.m. Listen, I don't know who was painting at 5 a.m. It wasn't me. And every time I go to do my DMP, something more powerful than my desire takes over. And we call it busy. We call it I painted. I needed to finish this. And we start to justify why we delayed on the thing, and we confuse busy with production.
Oosh, it happens to me a lot. I know.
Well, it doesn't happen to you a lot. You don't, the you that lets it happen gives up your authority a lot. It doesn't happen to you. It's not like somebody came in and robbed you. You decided to be robbed. You put a sign out front, said, rob me. And robbers went by and went, okay, let's go paint. And then we say, because of the satisfaction of finally completing something, we say, look what I did. What were you supposed to do? Well, I mean, I was supposed to work on my DMP, but look, I painted the wall. It looks great. Doesn't it look great? Yeah, but did you do your DMP? So you were in failure mode. But we have these little tiny little successes that we go, look what I did. I'm accomplishing. Granted, It's all important to do, but you didn't decide to wake up at 5 a.m. and paint. It's how little control we decide to take over our bodies. Your body decided to paint, not your heart, not your
Archie
mind.
bonus, yeah. Yeah, because I wasn't even thinking at 5 a.m.
And this is 9 a.m. I mean, this is what happens when you decide to make a decision. All of you, let me let you in on a little secret. All of you are going to experience something similar to Luis. Until you have your desire in place.
I desire in place.
And your desire is the only way you can have a desire is to have a goal. You just told me you have no goals in place. If you can let something wake you up at 5 a.m., you want goals. Human nature tells me you've got some big goals, but it ain't freaking painting. How long did it take you to paint?
An hour.
Okay, so let's do some quick math. You're a math guy. You're a guy who likes numbers. So what's your desired income for the year?
$1 million.
Okay. So let's not be delusional. What's your income desire for this year? Because you've never made have you made $500,000?
This is what I'm.
Interesting answer, Your Honor. I'm going to ask the witness.
I've sold.
I'm going to ask the witness to answer
In
the
my
question. Have you earned? Are you talking $1 million in sales or $1 million in income?
In income.
Okay, so have you
earned in income?
Have you earned a $500,000 in income? Can you show me a W-2, a 1090? Okay, so take the highest year you've ever earned and double it. Well, let's just start there for this conversation. So what's the highest income you've ever earned without?
200. I just found the key. I've been looking for this key for hours. You see what my mind does, Sean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, you're trying to distract from even this conversation.
200.
So 200,000.
Real number 200.
So 50 times. So y'all can do this math. 50 times 40. That's 2,000 hours. So 200,000. That's like $100 an hour divided by 2,000 equals $100 an hour. It cost you $100 to paint that wall this morning. It cost you. You didn't save it. It cost you. Do you know why I tell you? Did he just get kicked out? So it cost him $100. It cost him $100 to paint that wall. Now, if you look at compound interest and all of that, that $100 could turn into $20,000, $30,000 over the course of his lifetime. Does that make sense? If you invested $100 today, he didn't invest $100 today. He spent it painting a wall. Why do I say that? You have to look at, would you be willing to pay somebody else $100 to do what you're about to go do? Now, I understand in the beginning, you're going to have to go do it. But the point is that what is your highest priority of time? There's a good chance I wouldn't hire a brain surgeon, nor would a brain surgeon allow themselves to be hired to weed my garden, because it would cost me like $20,000. Or if I paid him their value, or if he weeded my garden for $10, he's got an issue with his value.
I'm back. My internet disconnected.
Shocking. Fascinating.
Right?
So it cost you $100. Would you pay somebody $100 to paint the wall behind you?
$100 to put it behind me? Yeah.
Then why didn't you?
Interesting.
Why didn't you pay them $100 so you could go make 1,000? Now I understand and what I was just saying before you pop back on is there's things we have to go do. It cost me $100 to go up and walk and check on Gizmo. I would gladly pay that. It took me about 15 minutes to go walk, check, make sure all the sheep, because the way I have the cameras now, I can't see them outside. And they were all in their different pens and different places. Gizmo was hiding under the umbrella it was perfect. But I'd have paid $1,000 for somebody to go check on the sheep.
In your time.
Because I could go do it. I wanted to check because some things you can't ask somebody to go do. You have to go do it. And you going to work on you writing your DMP is worth $1 million.
You're right.
So watch this. So if we just take 200,000 divided by 250, I think that's 200,000 divided by 250 is $800 a day. $800 a day. How many more years do you plan on living? Just ballpark, roughly, God willing.
60.
800 times 60 it was a $48,000 decision because you didn't work on yourself today for $800. If you're going to go make 200,000 a year, now you're going to make a lot more, but we're using that number. If you just stayed at 200,000 a year, that's and work 250 days a year. Weekends off, vacation, all of this stuff. That's $800 a day of income. And if you plan on living another 60 years, this one day for the next 60 years, one day for 60 years is $48,000. That was a $48,000 decision you made. But because you're like, well, I'm up at 5 a.m., I'm going to paint. We don't look at the value of our time. And we don't extrapolate it. We don't expand it. We go, okay, I'm done with painting. Look, the painting's nice. And we spend time patting ourselves on the back for a distraction. Now, the only difference is, Luis, and here's where I'm talking about. This is where we talk about mental toughness. If you got up and wanted to do your DMP and you wound up painting, you have to tell a new story. You have to show that you are in control. Because you say, I never painted 5 a.m. You were still not in control. This is how your subconscious tricks you. This making sense, y'all? Your subconscious went, let's do it. And listen, in an hour, we'll be done. You paid $48,000 to have that wall painted. Now, would you pay $48,000 to have that wall painted? Probably not. But see, when we look at it and the feelings, listen, be very careful and be very aware. The feelings you're feeling are your old story thinking they're getting yelled at. Your old story is being brought to attention, is being brought to task. It's not wrong. You needed to paint the wall. It's the way you tell the story about what we do.
That's why I had. Let me rewrite the story. That's why in the past I used to say that I was constantly fighting between my new and my old because I didn't own it. Get it?
And so what you can do today, what you can do from this moment forward is say, if I plan on living 60 years, how many $48,000 decisions can I make today? And then decide, would I write a check for 48 grand for this today? If I lose today, if I lose my focus today, if I avoid getting clear on my today, it's a $48,000 check I got to write. And here's the challenge. We talk about multitasking, right? How many of us are goal tasking? See, when we multitask or we goal task, the average multitask, if you are watching, if you are writing your DMP and you are totally in and your phone goes bing, that is a full level onboard, lights flashing, code red distraction. Simply your phone binging, because it tells you, the binging tells you a whole story of what's happening. A text came. I wonder who it is. I wonder what they're saying. I was waiting on a text, not waiting on a text. It was an email. I wonder what the email for. It's probably junk mail. And you go through this whole story. Is this making sense? Y'all nod if this is making sense. So there's something called attention residual attention. And so you decide to go after, you decide to get back into your goal, the goal you were just totally focused on, totally wired in on. Anybody want to type in the chat? If you're totally focused, you're in deep work, you're in the flow, and your phone goes, bing, you see a little flash come across your phone. You've got a text from John Willis, and you just look up and you glance up, you look up and you look back down. Somebody guess how long it takes you to get back into flow. Who wants to guess?
15 minutes.
27 minutes. And so if it takes you 27 minutes, so the question then becomes, let me ask you, we've been on the call for 35 minutes, no, 27 minutes since I came back from getting my coffee. How many of you have had a distraction from what I'm saying? Just go ahead and type a 1 in the chat. How many of you have had something pop on your screen, pop on your phone? So you're not even paying attention to me. And I know that. How can you pay attention to you if you're not even willing to pay attention to you? And if your DMP sucks, why would I want to go write something that sucks? Because it's worth it, suck. You have to love the suck. And until you love the suck, you're going to hate the pain.
Big bonus.
Could you imagine Gizmo if you're looking at that picture behind me, right? Gizmo's going, hey, listen, I want it to be sunny. He doesn't ask that question. Why isn't he asking me that question? Why is he saying, hey, listen, my jigglies are in the snow. Can you do something about it? That spot that's underneath the bed. Now, if you saw my reel or whatever I did, Mason and I spent about 10 man hours yesterday. 2 of us, 5 hours, 10 man hours. Building this cabin, fixing the doors, putting the water inside, his feed bucket inside. You see where he slept? He slept right there underneath the umbrella next to the bale. Gizmo, why didn't you go? I made this little path. I put a little cover over the path, over the doorway, so the snow wouldn't be there, so you could shake your feet off before you go into your little cabin. He slept under the umbrella out in the snow. The hell, Gizmo? He's like, I'm a sheep. Where the hell did you think I was going to sleep? He said, it's only 31 degrees here. I got a jacket that'll keep me to 0. 31's nothing. And the fact that there was no snow, his little stubby legs, which doesn't have wool on it, he folded his legs underneath him. He got him warm between him and the hay, and he was perfectly fine. He's like, I got to sit outside and watch the snow. Wouldn't you want to watch the snowfall? You want to know some of the greatest lessons I've ever learned? It's from being on the ranch. It's from growing up on a farm. I cannot convince Gizmo to go sleep in his shed. Now, I can trick him. I can put food in there. I could lock him in there. He'd have stayed in there if I locked him in there. How many of you are locked in a shed you don't want to be in? And you call it security.
Bonus.
So Jane puts up a great comment. We're to celebrate little challenges. There are no big challenges. There's only little challenges that build up. And it's called a tolerance. Jane, you know this is probably better than most. You can develop a resistance to drugs. You can develop a tolerance to drugs, right? That's why alcoholics can drink 17 beers and they don't look like anything happened to them. Some of you are drunk on your old story. So this might be cool. Dream alcoholics. Hi, I'm Sean, and I'm a dream alcoholic. Hi, Sean. I've been wanting this dream for years, and now I feel I have to do so much. I have to change so much. You just have to stop drinking your old story. I'm a dreamaholic. I love it. Hi, Louise. All right. This is changing the way we look at it. And all of a sudden we go, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. My daddy would say, if it makes so much sense, it'll make so much dollars. Why am I blurry? Gizmo, you're not letting me. There we go. No, I'm still blurry. Go ahead, Alex. Hey, AJ in the house.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Something came up as you were talking to Luis.
Really shocking.
Shocker. And it's in the form of a question. So as you were talking to Luis, this is what came up. I'm actually going to read directly from the journal. I was writing it as it was coming in. Don't be delusional and state $1 million goal just because it sounds nice. Sounds nice though. Anyway, if I do follow the ×2, so the X2 example that you set, as we were going through the DOS, I can aim for a 300 grand a year. 300 grand for me personally is expanding me. It's not scary. I can visualize it. Feels not as distant, and it feels, this is gonna sound strange, but it feels a lot better than if I say I want to make $1 million. Because
that's not strange. That's human nature. Because when you say million, your amygdala gets activated. Your amygdala gets activated, all of a sudden you lose 25% of your ability to solve the problem. How many of you would like me to take 25% out of your bank account right now? Would you be mad if all of a sudden some scammer came along and just took 25% out of your bank account? You know what's going to eventually happen? You're going to have nothing. See, Tony Robbins says this. Luis just put up million by 30 feels real. We overestimate. Listen carefully. You may want to write this down. Tony Robbins says we overestimate what we can do in a year. We overestimate what we can do in a year, and we underestimate what we can do in a decade.
You saying that now, it feels so, and I've heard that before a lot.
There ain't nothing I'm gonna say you haven't heard.
But I don't know what it's your voice, Sean. Your voice allows me to listen. And for me now, like looking back my past 10 years, well, I didn't work 10 years ago. Exactly 10 years ago, I wasn't making income. So I went from 0 to 100, and me now thinking, okay, 100 to 1 million in the next 10 years. Now that feels real now. And I deeply connected with, well, 1 million this year. Is it possible? Yeah, but is it really, really possible by how you're doing, your trend? No, but the 200, it was like, you know what? I know I'm gonna get to 200 this year. Because the plans, like the from my own compensation plan, if I just do the same thing I did last year and add like 10% extra, I get to 200 because I'll be getting paid more. So that really like felt so different. And now like just like thinking a million a year by 30 is just about keeping on this mindset of double it, just double it, double it, double it. And just mathematically, logically, but you see, Sean, that's the thing. I'm trying to not think so logically. I'm not a logical person anymore. I'm very emotional. I feel excited for it. Is that how I'm supposed to go?
Yeah. How does that feel?
Better.
And so would it make logical sense for you to feel better about your goals or feel worse about your goals?
Yes. Logical is, yeah.
So now here's the thing. When you get to 100 and you're 3/4 of the way through the year, it's possible to go do, because of leverage. If you are in a business model, does your business model allow leverage? Does it? Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So if you got to 100 in 6 months, are you able to leverage another 300 in 3 months? Because now you understand the system.
Totally. Yeah.
So right now you don't understand the system to get to 100 in 6 months. But you understand the system to get to 112 months. Why not? Let's just go do it twice as better. You've got the experience. You don't have to go through the learning curve. What most people don't realize, and the reason most people don't realize it, is because they never reach the goal in a compressed time frame. Your goal should never be outrageous. Listen carefully. Your subconscious is going to argue here for a moment. Your goal should never be outrageous. If your goal is 100K and you did it in a year, great. Say, I'm going to make 100K. I know how to make 100K. I'm going to go do it in 6 months.
Double my effort.
No,
Not even.
No,
I
get
just gotta
smart.
recruit more people.
Yes.
Recruit more people. I don't gotta double my effort.
So
Gotta be more
listen
smart.
carefully. So the skill you need to learn is people, not your business.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Now,
just
wait
the
a second.
people.
Follow me. Let's go
yeah.
do it instead of 6 months, do it in 3 months.
That's the plan.
And instead of 3 months, let's go do it in a month and a half.
So
And instead of listen, you're distracting. Stop.
Okay.
This is how you're limiting your own beliefs as you're trying to walk your way. Listen, you can talk all you want. It's your goals, not mine.
No, sir, you talk.
So now we do it in a half a month. Now we do it in 5 days. Now we do it in 2 days. Do you know there's people who launch their business online? These Tony Robbins and all of these different online people who sell goals and programs. They want to have $1 million day. They never had $1 million day, but they sold $1 million worth of their product. And their audience is big enough that they go, listen, I got a new, you guys have been buying this widget from me for a decade. I've got this widget that takes this and it does it 10 times faster. Who wants one? And because they have an audience, they raise their hands and they have $1 million day. You just need a bigger audience to talk to. All of you need a bigger audience to talk to. And you keep beating yourself up saying, I got to get harder. I got to get stronger. I'm going to paint my office. Painting the office was a great thing. You were busy because you could have slept. So, attaboy for the painting. I just want you to know what it cost you. But you got the painting done. You didn't know it cost you 48 grand when you did it. You now know. So now you're going to pay more attention to it. Does that make sense? So go make 100 grand. Always your goal is 100 grand. I know how to make 100 grand. I'm just going to learn how to do it faster because you can't learn how to make $1 million. You got to do 10 times of 100. You don't know that, but you know 100. Just compress it.
My goal is to make 100 a month.
Okay, but why not a day?
Why not a day?
So start with 100 a year and say, I'm going to do my best to get it done in half a year. So I have another half a year to go make another 100. It's all the story we tell, ladies and gentlemen. It's not hard to do what you do. The hard part is you not understanding how to compress time, how to chip away, undo what's not working. And the only way you're going to make 100 a day is to understand how to move people at a distance.
Well,
You
let's
have to
go.
learn, you have to understand the leverage necessary to move people at a distance. The way I got you to bang the table, I didn't get you to bang the table. That was a response to me going, I want to make 100 a month. Why not a day? Dang it. My goal is to expand your thinking to such a level that 100 a month seems easy. The only thing keeping you from 100, will your compensation plan pay you 100 a month?
Yeah.
Then it's not you. That's not your comp plan that's failing. It'll pay you in a week. It's you that's failing. So why not work on you? We don't know how to work on us because we're told if we work on us, that's selfish. We tell stories about all of our pain, not all of our joy. You tell me where you've been, not where you're going. You spent this morning talking to me about influenza and this, and I may get it because I'm in the same household. You spent 20 minutes telling me about the things you don't want. But I want to give you an update. You don't need to give me an update. I see you now. This is the most present update I could ever get. I don't need to know where you've been. Well, then I went to the bathroom 3 times. and I don't know. I think I got a little poo on my hand. I had to wash my hand. What? Who cares? Who cares?
So really intense, Sean. I feel really intense here in the "You Are Enough" shirt that I decided to wear enough today. I felt just really, 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 really intense here. So the solar plexus is this called?
This is the heart chakra.
That's the heart chakra.
The solar plexus is the doing right there where the ribs come together.
Okay. Well, so it was the heart. Yep. So I felt it in my heart.
Well, here's the challenge. Whenever we feel pain, one of the things, I'm going to give you a little secret, and Heather probably knows this. She may not even know it consciously, but she definitely knows it subconsciously. Anytime we're dealing with energy, and most people's disease is stress related, and stress is energy. So y'all following me? Drop a 1 in the chat if this is making sense. You need to pay close attention to this. So of all disease, the majority of disease is stress. Stress doesn't exist on its own. So you have stress awareness in your chest. I'm always looking, here's the secret. I'm always looking, what's either side of the stress? Because it is colliding in the place of pain that we focus on the pain. We don't focus on the external. We focus on the how to mask the pain versus the solution to remove the pain. Does that make sense? I always get a headache in the morning, so I got to take my aspirin. How sick does somebody really have to be if they contaminate their liver because of taking Tylenol? How much freaking Tylenol are you taking if you damage your liver? There's a lot of people with liver damage because of Tylenol. So you have this stress right here, and somebody goes, oh, my heart's not working. No, it's your words of authenticity and your freaking doing that are colliding in your heart. So your doing is out of alignment with the lie you're telling, so it shows up in your heart.
Here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll talk to a coach, you'll talk to a teacher, you'll talk to people who call themselves mentors, and you go, I feel it in my heart. Well, you just must love what you're doing, and you're this, that, or the other. And you're like, oh, I was in my heart chakra. No, your heart chakra was getting its ass kicked because your words of authenticity and your doing are out of alignment.
Now I'm just thinking that it really hurts. Again, saying, I think it was yesterday that I'm still focusing, thinking that my problems are only in Puerto Rico and I'm in Serbia, United States, United Kingdom. So your problems are international. and you're still
Problems are
focusing
global
on the little things.
until your problems are global
Yes,
until
sir.
you decide to operate universally. I'm about expanding your thinking, and I can only expand you to the level that you'll allow expansion. Otherwise, you pop.
I'm not gonna pop, Sean. Come on, throw
Listen,
more,
I'm
throw
not
more
saying
heat.
that, but you did pop because you disappeared for 2 years.
Oh, I did pop. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You did pop me. Yeah, you're right. I couldn't handle it. I'm stronger now, though.
Right, because you rebuilt and you don't want to be popped again.
Yeah.
And so now, as we're going through this DMP, you're part of the mastermind. You're going through this. You're thinking everybody's running around with pins. So what do? You go hide and paint. Nobody can pop me if I'm painting. I'm busy. Woo-hoo, woo-hoo.
Interesting. Awesome. What a conversation today. If you're not part of the mastermind, I
Well,
strongly
hey, that's not fair. Don't inject values into other people. Don't tell other people what they're not getting. Just talk about what you're getting.
That's just what I was going to say.
Yeah, but you're going to say,
I'm
if you're not part of the mastermind, you're missing out. Say, hey, listen, let me tell, I'm just saying, right? Yeah.
I learned something from my business here in Puerto Rico. People don't miss out on anything. I miss out on something if I'm not on this mastermind. Let me tell y'all. Wow, since I started this, the clarity of mind and the unclogging of knots, the untying of knots that I feel happening in my head is so liberating.
And we're 10 days in.
And we're 10 days in. And this year is flying. I'm scared and I'm excited because it's going so fast. And I know that I have to take action. And that's why I think I felt that. It's like, ooh, time is going and you can make this happen, but you gotta go now. And I was like, oh man, I really felt it. So just thank you, Sean, because I'm excited to go on all in action and then say, Sean, I think I need private mentorings. What's the 10K option you mentioned? Is that monthly? Yeah, I think I want that. 5K for the year. I need more. So thank you, Sean. I'm excited. I'm very, very excited.
So remember, I am your guide who opens the cage. And I'll do my best so you don't fly to the sun and burn your wings. You are doing all the work. Yes, you can thank me. All I'm doing is undoing, is chipping away. You heard me. What you just said is exactly what I do. I undo what's been done to you that's keeping you from the best of you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing any of the work. I'm standing strong enough so that when you want to resist letting go, I ask you, how's that working for you?
And you know what? That is the most important work.
It's the most powerful work. It's why you pay a mentor, somebody who helps you do things you did not know you could do. I am not your coach in this game.
I know. Yeah, I know. My coach would say I'm the best and stuff like that. You slap me sometimes.
The best. What is cool is the best of you is waking up.
Oh yes, that is for sure.
And here's the thing: people go, "Oh man, I got this." Here's the visual I want everybody to understand. The process as you go through the mastermind, when you say, man, I am so alive, imagine that moment when you wake up in bed and know you're in bed on a great day to sleep in, the rain is out or whatever it is, you hear the ocean going, you hear the breeze, whatever it is, there's nothing agitating about the moment you wake up. Yet you haven't opened your eyes yet. And you just know, oh, this is going to be a good day. That's where you're at. You haven't even gotten out. You haven't even opened your eyes yet. You haven't even rolled over and stretched yet. We're 10 days in. You couldn't have rolled over and stretched. You're just waking up. You're just becoming consciously aware of your possibility and potential, which is going to get freaking scary real quick until you have your definite major purpose in place that's bigger than any change you're about to happen, that you're going to allow yourself the transformation. You're going to allow your DMP to pull you through the confusion and the chaos, going, well, isn't this fascinating? Back to work. Isn't this fascinating? Back to work. And the most important work and the most powerful work you're ever going to do is on you. You have to write your gratitude every morning. I'm not saying you get to. This is a have to. You have to adjust your energy. You have to stay in this frequency, because here's the thing. Right now, Luis, you're sitting in the bar and you look down at the end of the bar and you're like, oh my gosh, there's my dream. Oh my gosh, it's sexier than I ever thought it was. It was bigger than I ever thought it was, richer than I ever thought it was. And you look down and your dream looks at you and you go, oh my God, they looked at me. And when you look back, they're gone. They moved.
Just like I got scared.
Because you're like, I don't want to make eye contact. And now you have to find them again. You ever look for somebody and you go, geez, where'd they go? Now you have to seek again. You have to be in the vibration again. And here's the problem. You'll keep going back to the same bar and the same stool in the same place, waiting and hoping and waiting and hoping and waiting and hoping and waiting and hoping. They're in another bar. They're in the bar next door, but you won't leave what you know.
I felt like that's what happened the first time. I felt like I was really aligned. My community popped up, the podcast, and when I got out, I really felt like I know it's me. I know it's still me, because it wasn't really, but I felt like I just had to go back and restart and realign. And it was like, wow, bro, how it was like a straight line, and then all of a sudden it really felt like tangled again. It's really interesting how you tell it, because it feels like that.
And he gets kicked out again. Hey, Paul, good morning.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning.
I'm back.
Yay.
Yeah, it's too bad Luis, well, he may come back, but one of the things I've learned by being on here is that when he says, I think I want that $10,000 in for you personally mentoring him, he's never going to get it.
Right.
Because his language is wrong, his mind is wrong. And that's one of the things I've learned.
Rather than it being wrong, his mind is limiting his possibility. But yes,
exactly.
I totally know what you say. Yes.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I'm lucky. I'm in Orlando, Florida. Everybody says, "Oh, it's cold here." I said, "This is beautiful here."
Hey, you're gonna see two very dear friends of mine.
Oh, okay.
Elaine Linus
Elaine?
and Rick Linus.
Elaine?
Yep, they're from Canada.
And Rick?
Yep, Linus.
Where are they from?
Somewhere in Canada, Toronto. They're not Toronto, and it's not the capital.
Montreal?
They're just across from Michigan.
Oh, okay. So they're in Windsor.
Yeah, Windsor. They're somewhere near Windsor, because they fly out of Michigan. They fly out of the States, not Canada.
Excellent. Okay. So well, then
get to know them. They are
I will search them out.
20-year friends, and just the greatest folks on the planet. I love them to death. We've done a lot of business together. They're just good eggs. And Elaine and Rick, Rick's a go-getter. He's a type 1 personality. Now, as a granddad, he's probably adjusted a little bit, but the two of them are just, they were part of a wellness company and did extraordinarily well. And they've kind of bounced around a couple of different things, and now they found this place about a year ago, I guess. And they just seem to be, they love it. They're rocking it. And they're literally, I got a text last night that they were in Orlando. They finally got to their hotel.
Excellent. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm excited about being here, because there's very few events that I miss. There's got to be a hell of a good reason, or I'm there. And yeah, so, and one of the reasons I do is because I want to be part of the growth. And so when we rebranded January 1st 2 years ago, since that, so that we went from